Welcome to Zone Coverage. We're at Stewart's TV and Appliance in the Sub-Zero Wolf Kitchen for our weekly look at everything having to do with the Cleveland Browns. I'm Scott Petrak, Browns beat writer for the Chronicle Telegram, Medani Gazette, and BrownsZone.com. This is Jim Ingram, our sports columnist. Well, Jim, the Browns are coming off a bye. They showed, I thought, a lot of energy. They still lose 38-24 up in Detroit. Hugh Jackson, I thought his game plan was as good as it's been all year. Some balance. They were able to run the ball and throw the ball. So I'm asking you, did you see enough progress? I know they fell to 0-9, but did you see signs of progress and kind of reasons to pay attention for the last 7 games?
Yeah, there were some. And again, I keep coming back to this thought that they're at the point now where other teams are really taking them for granted. You can tell by the way these games unfold. I mean, it always starts out with the Browns pretty good out of the gate, and then the other team starts getting into it and realizing that the Browns are going to play hard, and then you gotta play a little better yourself. So even with that caveat, I do think there were some steps forward that you could point to. And, the play of the quarterback, I thought Kaiser was pretty good. And the running game was really an eye-opener. And, it makes you wonder, where's this been? And, they're doing it without Joe Thomas, their best offensive lineman. So, yeah, I think there were some things that were good. And, of course, one too many things that were bad, which always seems to be the case.
Yeah, and like you said, obviously, they do enough to lose, and every week they do enough to lose. And this week, it was a lot of defensive breakdowns in the second half, and the defense has been kind of carrying the team for a little bit, but gives up 3 touchdowns when the game was there to be won. Drops again from the receivers and tight ends. And then the biggest talking point was what happened at the end of that first half, right? It's second down and goal from the 2-yard line, 15 seconds left, no timeouts, and DeShone Kizer goes for a quarterback sneak, gets stuffed, they don't run another play, they get no points out of it. Hugh Jackson called the pass play there. Now, he gives DeShone Kizer the option to audible to a sneak if he thinks he's going to score. Kizer took that option. It didn't work. There was no chance it was going to work. So I'm asking you, is it Hugh Jackson's fault for even giving DeShone Kizer the option? I mean, he's a 21-year-old rookie. Why not just throw it a couple times and then kick a field goal if you need to?
Yeah, and it's not like the ball was on the 1-yard line.
Right.
It was on the 2-yard line, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but it's a huge deal when you're talking about a quarterback sneak. So, yeah, I agree. I think Jackson should have said, this is a pass. Do not audible to anything else. Just throw the pass. Because even if it doesn't work, you've got another chance at another pass. The sneak doesn't work, and it's the end of the half, and we saw what happened. So, yeah, I think in certain situations, that one particular, the coach – I know he's trying to be flexible with the quarterback, but you got to be really firm about this. There's no other option but to throw a pass here. Just run it, and let's see what happens.
And what did you think about the way Hugh Jackson handled it after the game where he says, blame me? And he didn't even want to entertain any questions about the specifics of it. He said, blame me. And then Monday he doubled down and said, blame me for the drop passes, blame me for the missed blocks. Maybe he's being noble. Maybe it's a PR move just to kind of look good. But are you okay with him kind of taking all the blame from his players and putting it on his shoulders?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind that so much. I think especially in the case of a young quarterback like that, which, blame you also for the quarterback making the wrong decision there because you're part of that. I think we're to the point with Jackson where he's now auditioning for his next job, and I think he's putting it out there that he's willing to be accountable for when things go bad, and which he did in that situation, and maybe that'll help him down the road. But, if you had a 10-year veteran quarterback, maybe you don't handle it that way. But with Kizer, I think that was fine.
Yeah. We've talked about DeShone Kizer plenty on our weekly shows here. You're not on my side. I've always liked him. I think he's got potential. I still feel that way. I felt that way when they benched him, when they tried to replace him with A.J. McCarron. What did you see out of him that you liked Sunday in that loss to the Lions? And did it give you any reason to think that, hey, maybe this kid has what is needed to be kind of that long-term answer?
Well, I do have to say, this is the first time this year when I kind of said maybe there is something there. He had some really nice throws. Now, of course, you're playing in a climate-controlled environment up there, but he had some really nice throws, deep balls which supposedly is his strength, and we did see that. He stands in there, and he made a lot of more than just the deep balls. I just thought he looked a lot more confident and a lot more sure of himself and what he's supposed to be doing. And, he's still, the numbers weren't very good, but I get the sense that he's not a hopeless case, which I didn't think he was even going to be a guy for the future for them. Maybe he could be, maybe not, but I did think there was some progress made there.
And that's a reason to pay attention the last 7 games, to see what DeShone Kizer could do. And that's why I'm glad that McCarron trade didn't go through, because I think he deserved the chance to play these final 8 weeks and see, if he can make that improvement and show that development. And there are stuff I like about him. I like his pocket presence. I like the fact that he can get outside the pocket and pick up yards when he needs to. The arm, I don't think there's any questioning the arm. And I like how he's handled everything about this year. And there's been a lot of tough times, a lot thrown on this kid. And I think he's handled it well. And I think you agree with that part, right?
Yeah. He's for a 21-year-old kid going through a really hard situation, I think he's handled it off the field really well. I mean, he speaks the way he says what you want to hear a quarterback say. He takes accountability. He's trying to be a leader. There's a lot of stuff in being a quarterback, and when you're a rookie, it's even compounded with that. And I just think he's carried himself really well.
Before we get to next week against Jacksonville, I want to ask you, we're 9 games into this, and they still haven't won. Do you see a win on the schedule? I mean, there's 7 games left. Do you think they're going to win a game, or are you thinking, geez, they could go 0-16, which has only been done once before?
I do think they'll win a game, because 0-16 is really hard. I mean, it sounds crazy to say it's really hard to lose them all, but if any team could do it, it might be this one. But yeah, I just got a feeling that Bengals game might be a possibility. Every time I've seen the Bengals, they don't impress me at all, and so maybe that's one they could steal and duplicate last year's record.
I mean, every time I go on a radio show, or you talk to family and friends, are they going to go 0-16? And you're exactly right, Jim. That's the answer I give. It's hard to go 0-16. It's nearly impossible in this league to go 0-16, and I think they proved that last year when they get kind of the fluke win on Christmas Eve. They needed a blocked field goal, and they needed a bunch of stuff to go right. So there's 7 games left, and really, out of the last 8 games, I thought the Lions was going to be the hardest to win. I gave the Browns the least chance to win that game, and then they came relatively close. So I'm with you. I see 1, maybe 2 wins down the stretch, assuming nothing crazy happens. Well, they do host the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday. One of the surprise teams in the NFL this year, 6-3, playing really well, kind of old school. They run the ball a lot. They have a good defense. I think the weather might be a little junky this weekend, which might suit Jacksonville kind of their best, even though they're coming from Florida. I think I know the answer, but you're not picking the first win to come this weekend, are you?
No, I don't. It sounds like Jacksonville could be one of the playoff teams. I mean, they're really, like you said, their defense is really good, and that could make it a little tough. So I don't think they can win, but hopefully you get to see continuation of the progress with Kizer and some of the other guys, and at least make it competitive.
Yeah, and they will get Corey Coleman back, the receiver, which should help DeShone Kizer, who's been killed by his receiving core all year long. But it's going to be a good test for DeShone Kizer. You got Tayshaun Gibson at free safety for the Jaguars, former Brown. Been kind of killing the Browns in Jacksonville already this week. And he's an interception guy. He's a ball hawk. And we know DeShone Kizer turns it over, so he has to be careful there. I do think it kind of feels like a game that the Browns will have a chance. I just don't think Jacksonville is as good as their record, and it's bound to have a letdown. I don't know if it'll be this week, and I can't pick the Browns. They're 0-9. But I think it's going to be close. I'm going to go Jacksonville 20, Cleveland 17. But it wouldn't stun me if the Browns pulled an upset here. But then again, I could be completely wrong. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week at Stewart's TV and Appliance.